All right, everyone, it's time to talk about the Trumponomic boom, which is not, after all, evenly applied and actually has primarily been a thing for the lower through upper middle class. I'm in the middle class now. I got a tax break. I feel generally optimistic about the American economy. The only pessimism I have is the possibility that the Democrats will win and then reduce, the Trump economic growth that we're really having now to nothing. And then, of course, if people have less expendable income, then they're buying less of my books. And that really affects me. It does affect the bottom line. Yes, I'm looking out for number one when it comes to the economy, as all people should, which is, by the way, why I reject socialism. I did even when I was poor. Socialism is not a boost up for people who are on the bottom. What it really is about making the government look more friendly, appropriating more of the productive means in the hands of the government, and then redistributing a few crumbs here and there to the little people to keep them in line. I oppose it completely. I'm a true capitalist. Capitalism is wonderful. Socialism sucks. It's really what it's about. You could elaborate on it for 1,000 years. At some point, you just have to say socialism is a cancer, and capitalism has proven itself to work time and time again. There's really no other argument to be made because people who have been fooled into the cult of the far left, not like general liberals, but the far left, they either come around or they won't. There's nothing really to be done about it. With regards to the economy, it's been very, very funny for these last few years to see people on the left, for partisan reasons, because they've got Trump derangement syndrome, try to argue that the economy isn't doing well. But it is, in virtually every metric. I remember fondly Paul Krugman, remember him? The dude who looks like he has roast beef under his chin. That dude in 2015 was predicting if Trump wins the election against Hillary Clinton, we'll be in another Great Depression within a year. Remember that? Did that happen? No. Stock market's at record highs. Wage growth is up. Unemployment in some metrics is at its lowest point in either 50 years or in some cases forever. Now, part of that is labor force participation. We can't forget that, and I'm not trying to. I'm not shilling anybody here. Yeah, labor force participation is too low. Part of it's because you've got an aging population. There's nothing to be done about it. Trump can't stop that any more than Obama or anybody else can. Largely, though, things are in the positive direction. Real income earned for the middle class is up by thousands of dollars over the course of just a couple of years of Trump's presidency. Link in the description, by the way. This sort of breaks it down in simple terms that everyone can understand, including me, because economically I'm more on the elementary end. It's not the same as analyzing political strategy or political history. The economic end, not my forte. Enough of my forte not to make me a leftist, though. I know enough about economics to avoid that problem. I don't know. I just like throwing shade on, leftist economics. It's kind of low-hanging fruit, but, then again, everything about far leftism tends to be kind of low. One-liners are very fun. But, real income earned is up significantly. More than under Bush or Obama. Under Bush, I'm surprised that over the course of his years in presidency, it rose at all. Of course, the middle class at the time was disappearing. That's the other thing. Real income did technically grow for the productive middle class under Obama, too. The problem is the middle class shrunk so much. Now it's not shrinking anymore, though. That's the other bright piece of news, is that the middle class has come back. Part of that's due to manufacturing. Trump's trade wars, while they have harmed some aspects of the U.S. economy, have been a boon for others. And those are the aspects of the economy you want. How many soybeans do you really have to grow? So I'm sorry to all of the farmers in Iowa. And I'm sure some soybean farmer out in Illinois is my fan and will be pissed off at this. But growing soybeans is not the way that you lead to a robust, first world, fully industrialized, high-capacity economy. You need soybeans because you've got a lot of Apple fans that can't eat anything else. They got interesting digestive systems, okay? Let's just say it that way. They need their estrogen. Gladly supply it to them if you can make money off them. You should charge 10 times as much. You should just brand your soybeans special soybeans. Just slap the Apple logo on them and sell them for 10 times as much in New York City. You'll make a killing. Trust me, Illinois farmer fan out there. Here, I've given you a business tip. I'm only semi-joking, by the way, about that. Look at organic farming sometime, and the truth of that, you'll kind of sort of get the idea. Go to your local co-op. Better yet, just start a home garden. You can start a container garden even if you're in an apartment. You know that, right? You can literally save money doing that. And turn one of the rooms in your house into a giant greenhouse. It'll be hilarious. I'm getting off topic. Now I'm talking about survivalism. It's a sad state of affairs. Trump has inarguably created a situation in which the middle and working classes are doing better than they were several years ago. It's not up for debate. By and large, as an aggregate, that is simply the way it's worked. The stock market is up. Everything regarding the U.S. economy has done better than expected. It's even been pointed out, I think it was the Atlantic the other day. There was an article talking about things. I think it was warning the Democrats to be a little bit more cautious. They're like, well, here was our time machine report or something, some stupid gimmick like that about how Trump's presidency would be. And well, we were off the mark on a lot of things like, the Great Depression or the next Civil War. And here's some elements of things that we were wrong on. We were right about other things. He's been brash and inhospitable towards people and stuff. Basically, personality traits. Trump is an asshole. I guess that's going to be the slogan of the 2020 Democrats. Trump is an asshole, vote for us. Nobody cares if he's an asshole. He's our asshole. And he's doing a pretty good job with regards to the economy. He gets an A- for me on the economy. The second round of tax cuts never fully got flushed out and passed. I think the Republicans were kind of receptive, but then they lose the House and it slows it down. I wish there had been a second layer of tax cuts, specifically geared towards the self-employed and small businesses. Hey, Mr. Trump, that would be nice. Fucking give us more money. When the government is taking arbitrarily enormous chunks of money from people just because their income is self-employed, that's not sensible. It should do the opposite. It should tax it less. People who are getting their income from independent sources should be taxed, should be given subsidies. That way it'll encourage more people to take up a hobby and try to produce. We can outcompete other countries more ably, especially when you're exporting goods, especially like when your books are on Amazon and people in Japan are buying them. Money's coming into the United States. You're getting, a tax revenue on that. Somebody else is sending a tiny chunk of the productivity of a foreign country into yours. I think that's wonderful. U.S. tech firms, by the way, are set up to leech money from the rest of the world. We're not taking advantage of the situation. We should be using it like a giant vampiric muscle and sucking the life out of our competitors. But, that's too cutthroat for the namby-pamby sort of fake capitalists that run our economic situation, I guess. We could weaponize that whole situation. It'd be, I think, wonderful. Not trying to be too much of a cutthroat. I mean, I don't want to fuck anybody over, but it's good to build yourself up generally. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Trump has done a good job. It's like Reagan 2.0, in Morning in America again. He's running for re-election. The economy has started to improve and unemployment has started to tick down. Inflation has started to decrease. Things were generally going better by the time he was running for re-election after a few shudders in the first year or two of his presidency. He ran on that, and he won overwhelmingly because of the economy. The economy had been a big problem only a few years prior. What the fuck situation does Trump have to deal with? A few years ago, most of the talk within U.S. politics was primarily economics. Now the Democrats all of a sudden don't want to talk about that so much, except when the Dow Jones has an off day. Or about crypto occasionally, which, by the way, right now is sliding again. I'm still holding. I'm convinced it's going to spike beyond your wildest dreams. I'm not Gab.com or McAfee. I don't think that a Bitcoin is going to cost $1 million a year from now, but I think that there's money to be made, yeah. I think you're crazy for not holding the crypto you have. By the way, there are links in the description of my crypto wallets. You should, if you're shorting your crypto, you should just give it to me. Just give me your crypto. Just saying. If you're convinced it'll be worthless, why does it matter? Let your mistake benefit me so that I can, get 10 more laptops. There's actually a shit poster on 4chan that's obsessed with the topic. He's begun to write multi-paragraph long stories about how I'm like a dark wizard and I'm using hypnosis, I guess, to get laptop funds and stuff. By the way, I consider the person a fan as opposed to an actual shit poster. I think it's so great. Oh, dude, you've given me so many laughs, so, kudos to you. Whether you're being ironic or not, I really don't care. I find it funny. I've literally screen capped some of your posts. Should put them on Twitter or something. Now, I'm in a good mood today because of the possibility of Hillary Clinton actually being dumb enough to get into the race. But when I look at the economic side of things, if the Democrats can't run on the economy and they can't run on foreign policy, And they can't really legitimately run on domestic issues because there's no real domestic issue that's not in the minds of just the far left. What the fuck are they even running on? Orange Man bad, but why? Why is he bad? How has he been mad? How has Donald Trump been bad for me? Would be the question a lot of voters are going to be asking. If they're far left, they were never going to vote for him to begin with. And if they're like some triple minority or something, yeah, they've probably been told that Trump hates them. They're probably not so likely to vote for him. What about among those voting blocs that comprise large chunks of the middle class, which ultimately boil down to just regular average Joe Americans? How does he negatively impact me? Has he taken more of my money? Has he caused me to lose my job? Has he caused my neighborhood to fall into disrepair? Do I feel like terrorists are waiting outside of my window because he refuses to secure the border or something, or beat up some terrorists over in the Middle East? No, none of these things are problems. By the way, there are three things fundamentally that Trump can run on. Number one is the border. That was a big thing. That's for his core fans. He is beginning to build the border wall. He's going to be able to tout that by the time the election really heats up in a few more months. By the time that the next year comes, he'll begin touting it. You watch. He'll start doing that. And it'll work. For his core fans, at least. That has nothing to do with centrist voters as much. Secondly, the economy. That's how you get the center in. That's how you get the independent voters like me to flock into the Trump camp, saying, look at the economy. Here's some metrics, but ultimately I'd like you to ask yourself the question, are you better off? He should ask that to his fans in his address when he accepts the nomination inevitably. He should do that. Focus on the economy and the fucking border. Those are two major focuses. Third, and the least primary focus, but the one Trump uses the most often because it amuses him, and I'm sure that's for personal reasons. The Democrats are the party of fear. The Democrats don't have a platform. They're confused, and they want you to be confused and scared too, so that you'll vote for them and go back to the way things were before I took hold. In Trump's words, of course. That's what he should do. Because they are. I mean, where's the platform? They don't have one. They don't have a coherent platform. They're nuts. Cast them off as a party of people who are insane and people who are terrified. Often both, like Nancy Pelosi. You get a winning strategy. He wins re-election, probably by a fairly large margin. I would expect he wins more electoral votes and probably the popular vote along with it. That's what I'm expecting if the Democrats and the economy, of course, continue to go in the current direction. That's about all. Peace out.